Yeah. All right.
All right. So I'm going to go through and share my screen because I want to actually show. Window, I'm going to show. All right. Do we have an orchestration agent? Yes, we have a chief of staff. So very, very exciting stuff. So every week we're going to get a meeting agenda. So you'll see today's meeting agenda is to walk through, I'm going to walk through Hermes as well as our GitHub synced knowledge base, which Hermes uses. And then if you guys have any updates on the Buzz experiment, because we said we were going to do Hermes plus Slack versus Buzz in parallel and see how they do. And then I did want to get feedback on an alignment proposal on our basically our objectives, commitments, and mission statement. And then just some asynchronous action items that does not require live discussion. So Zain, you and I, we can talk about this later, which is there is some interdependencies between the cloud computer and the knowledge folder. And so there's some files in there that I wanted to understand what they're used for because Hermes is using everything in that knowledge folder and it wasn't sure what those files were and how important they are. So I wanted to talk about that. And then also in GitHub right now, it's doing a 5-minute poll. But what it could do is if we open up a port, it could actually use a webhook so that rather than polling every 5 minutes, it can just, whenever there is an update in GitHub, it will just pull that change down whenever there's a new commit to GitHub. So, but it's going to open up a port. There's some security implications and stuff like that. So just wanted to go through that. And then, yeah, the live discussion, the focus on the live discussion really is around, you know, the final objectives, commitments, and mission statement. There is a topic around, do we want to have a concept of roles? What does it mean to have a role? Because if this is an AI guild, where we are here because of our craft and our ability to not just be a loose community where, you know, very few people are super engaged and most people are passive. This is something where every one of us is super engaged. So do we want to have some concept of roles or not? And then there's one manual thing right now that we have not automated, which is someone does have to drop the meeting notes into this, actually the same folder. So there's a folder right here for today's sync. And in order for it to see the meeting notes and to be able to take action on it and to analyze it, there's actually a sub agent that looks in that meeting notes folder. Someone has to either use Zain. You've been uploading Fathom. I actually uploaded all of my granolas. So you can see historically, you can see right here, there's a Fathom sync, and then there's the granola sync. So it actually has notes from both of us, and so it gathered context from each of our notes. But so we have to figure out how to automate that, or
I was going to say we can upload this to the VPS, or it needs to go straight into GitHub.
No. We upload it to the VPS.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Actually, I can one up you there, which is there's another way to do it in Slack as well. So
okay,
I'll go through and share that. But that's basically it. Do you have any kind of? I did not have any feedback sessions in here because no one said that there was a project that they wanted. The only project we discussed showing if there was any updates with Buzz. So.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to go through and just kind of share a little bit about this orchestration agent. So first I'm going to go knowledge. I'm going to show the knowledge base, and then I'm going to show Slack. That's how I'm going to do it. So here's the knowledge folder.
Too, by the way, what's up, Alan?
Yeah. Ellen. All right. Up, hello.
Yo.
Hey, good morning.
All right.
Morning.
Today's an exciting day, Alan. Today is an exciting day. We have an actual working, operating orchestration agent, which has a bunch of different cron jobs, doing a bunch of different things, and a bunch of sub agents that's going to manage us. So hopefully we can just be on the periphery, get this world, model going, give it feedback when it asks for it, and then help the orchestration agent manage us to get the most out of each week.
Yeah, it looks great. Like I've been seeing our Slack has been, kind of busy now.
It's blowing up. It's blowing up. I'll try to cut through the noise a little bit. So in the knowledge base folder in the VPS, which is then synced into GitHub. So you should all have access to this this GitHub repo. It's completely private, x404 knowledge. It's separate from the Hermes runtime, which is also a project. So you'll notice we had this old x404 bot, which has not been used, but now we have x404 knowledge, which is the knowledge repo. It's synced on the VPS. It's private. And then we have x404 Hermes, which is the runtime, which is how Hermes and all its sub-agents work. That is actually public, and that gets updated daily. So just to let you know that does exist. So if I came into x404 Hermes, you can see the runtime environment. This is synced with the Hermes folder on the VPS. So
nice.
I don't have any readmes yet, so I would have to go in and add that. So let me go back to the folders that we have in the knowledge base, so you guys are aware here. We have ops guides, sources, wiki, and then we have a few folders that talk about, at a high level, what is this? About me, I'm an actually this one needs to be updated. This is kind of an old one. The most important one, I think, is no, knowledge is old. These are two that were used to be there that I left Zain that I wanted to talk to you about. This is the main one. x404 agent identity. I'm the chief of staff and orchestration agent. I keep the group aligned to decide content, track action items and decisions, and coordinate humans and specialized sub-agents. What I do, what I don't do, communication style. Here are the different pathways that it leverages and where it's synced. Some operating notes, yada, yada. So this is actually kind of like an agent.md file right here. So this is what the agent actually does. We've got kind of the knowledge base schema. So this actually tells you the knowledge base right here. So yeah, so the agent identity and operating notes was there. This is the knowledge base schema, 2 legacy files. And then we have ops guides or like run books, handoff documents, and plans. So if I come into ops guides, you'll see, hey, look, there's a group alignment proposal on proposing on our mission statement, proposed objective, commitments, operating principles, roles and responsibilities, and any outstanding open questions. We've had some things in there like, how how Hermes runtime, we did a migration because we had 2 different Hermes folders and did a migration from Hermes RW to Hermes in the runtime environment. And this was like the migration guide. So here's where like a lot of run books and like exercises and things go into ops guides. And then we'll go back to, I think the next one I was going to say is sources. So sources is where the agent doesn't upload or create anything in sources. This is all humans. So we have meeting notes. So right now we're manually dropping meeting notes. I manually dropped into exercises. You'll see previous exercises. So this is static. This is not something that the agent is going to continue to add to. This is something that we can manually add to. And so we have exercises, which is like, mirror board exports, the idea spreadsheet. So I uploaded the idea spreadsheet where we had all those different ideas, things like that. So this is all context that it's had and it's run through. Meeting notes, obviously, and this includes both prep and meeting notes. So, and you can have multiple prep file, or you can have multiple meeting notes files. So each of us can upload our meeting notes to it if we want. And then basically upload is just other. This is just any other files. Right now, these are actually legacy files. Not sure what to do with it. Needed to talk to you, Zain, because they might be used by the cloud computer. So yeah, so there's uploads archive. So this is unreferenced, unused uploads. So anyways, these are just uploads is just any miscellaneous stuff that's not either an exercise or a meeting note. So these are the sources that us as humans will upload to. Now, Wiki is the thing, and this is kind of the Karpathy style here, where we upload stuff and then it creates a wiki out of the stuff we upload and its Slack and any direct conversations we have with the agent. It updates everything in this wiki. So you'll notice in the wiki over here, I'm going to go to, yeah, the first thing, this is in the wiki. So the knowledge schema is in the wiki. Actually, it's not in the wiki. I'm sorry. It's just outside of it. So in the wiki, we'll have things like members. Here's each of the people. Here's our Slack IDs, our status. James is inactive or is ghosted. What we're currently focused on, any project ownership, any potential guild responsibilities that we have been tackling. We've got, here are our mission statement, objectives, and commitments and operating principles. This is something that we did want to do a session because this is like a draft. We have things like action items. So here are the open, outstanding, actually some of these action items are done. We now have the meeting note digest that gets posted to Slack that's done, moving Karen's research radar to a dedicated sub-agent, and the market research channel is done. Still have some things like dependencies around the cloud computer, reviewing the webhook upgrade for instant knowledge base sync, things like that. So decisions, here are decisions that are made. So we have context of decisions that have made and how that impacts the group. Here's actually the index of the wiki. We got members, projects. I showed you the other one so far. So now let me actually jump into, what was it? Projects. So you can see each of our active projects: Enter the Cloud, Cloud Computer, Salat, Buzz, Snapster, group infrastructure projects like the orchestration agent, research radar agent, and some parking lot items. Like right now, I'm not integrating with Google Docs or Miro because I exported everything that was in there already as the MD files. Any email capability, we don't have it actively using email. Things like that are kind of in the parking lot to come back to. What else? Yeah, so that is basically the kind of like the wiki index here. So that's the knowledge base. So any questions about the knowledge base or how it works or what content is in there or that's how humans interface with it or agents? All good? Want me to move on to Slack?
No, this is great. That's awesome. Thank you.
Okay. The only thing you guys have to worry about is uploading anything to sources. And then also, if I take a look again at today's meeting notes agenda, you'll notice that everything in here is linked. So when we talk about having an alignment session on a proposal for having, proposed group alignment, proposed mission statement, why this version, proposed objectives, here's like the exercise that we can conduct. And you'll notice everything is linked. So that way, everything is linked to other pages that are in the knowledge base. So trying to make everything as easy and seamless as possible for us to be able to access information and exercises and stuff like that. So
who is Tony? Who's structuring the meeting notes? Is it Hermes doing it, or we have to structure and upload the notes?
So we have to take from our meeting trackers right now, from any meeting tracker that we use, just export it to an MD file and upload it to, when I say upload, you make sure you're, obviously GitHub sync to a local folder, or there is a place in Slack you can go to just say, here's the meeting notes. Please upload this. And it'll know where to upload it to.
Yeah, I think
there is an
easier to just give
outstanding
it to
item.
Slack.
Yeah, there's an outstanding item on, is there a way to give this some sort of webhook or MCP server to connect into the meeting notes, or do we build our own meeting note-taking agent that joins the calls and all that sort of stuff? I mean, I figured we're all using our own agents, meeting note takers anyways, so let's just leverage that. It's just not automated right now. So All right. So let me actually go in and show you guys in Slack how Slack is organized right now. Obviously, we have each of the project folders. So for each project folder, we have those projects. But we have this one right here called orchestration agent. So orchestration agent is the Slack channel for actually working on the agent itself.
I think you're.
So
still
I
think you're still showing the.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let me actually go and stop sharing and reshare Slack. There. I'm just going to share my entire screen. Okay. Slack. So the orchestration agent is itself a project. So I have been using this extensively to say like, hey, Hermes, it's time to finally give you proper context and, you know, direction, yada, yada, yada. Like, so you can see all these conversations I'm having with it, and I fed it in the latest objectives, commitments, and mission statements here. You can see entire huge long threads in here that I had with it, where I was, you know, talking to the agent itself and going back and forth to help it manage itself. So this was me training the orchestration agent to be an orchestration agent. So very, very meta here. So you can see now, hey, Hermes is now operating the group's chief of staff. Here's the shared memory. Here's my role. Here's my sub-agents. Here's my recurring automations. Here's what I still need your input on. It has its own full PRD. I reviewed its PRD, knowledge base cleanup plan, all that sort of stuff. You can see everything. So I've had lots of conversations with Hermes via Slack itself. So lots of conversations. You can see every one of these threads has like 35 replies, 56 replies, 7 replies. There's been a lot of conversations in here. So anytime you want to ask Hermes about how he's operating, or you want to change how he's operating, the best place to do it is to actually jump into here. You can do it in any other channel. There's no restrictions. You can talk to Hermes and have him change how he operates or create a new sub-agent anywhere. This is just more in order to, like, you know, have you know, one place to go to talk to Hermes about how it operates. This is the place to do it. Then we obviously have general. Here is a new Slack channel called knowledge base. So anytime there is a new change to the knowledge base in GitHub, it just posted here. So it says knowledge base is updated. Here is the git commit, who updated it. Oh yeah, Hermes has his own GitHub account. So anytime Hermes commits something, it's going to show up as Hermes as opposed to one of us. So you can see this was the actual commit, and then this was the actual file that has changed. There's a second thing that you can do here, which is if you wanted to upload meeting notes, upload it. And so it's also looking to see if anyone has uploaded any knowledge base attachments that should go into sources. So you could say, upload this to the meeting notes folder. You can say, upload this to uploads. You can say, or just don't state it all. Or you can say, upload this as an ops guide, and it will upload it into the respective sources folder in the knowledge base, and it'll then commit it to GitHub. So this is where you go if you want. So you can either go to the VPS and you can use the cloud computer. So I have also been doing that as well. Or you can use Slack to do that too. So I should have a cloud computer session running. So let me actually show you where in the cloud computer. Oh, you got a terminal window up. Escape. Also open a new window. So this is just like the terminal. I'm just going to show you where this is. So if you are able to have SSH to SSH in, this is where it's going to live. It's going to be, when you come in here, you're going to be in a folder called data. So you go into then knowledge, and then this is it. So it's /data/knowledge. That's the knowledge folder. And in there, you'll see things like the schema. You'll see output. Oh, I don't know. Sources, wiki, the agent identity. So that's all right here. And then let me actually show you where the Hermes runtime agent is, because it had two runtimes. So sorry if you guys can hear any noise in the background. It is in data, then runtime, Hermes.
And I did give, I think Tony now also has direct SSH access to the server too. So
Yes.
if somebody else wants like direct access to
Yeah.
I'll need the public key and then I can add you in.
So this is data/runtime/Hermes. I'll show you, I actually have a Claude session going. So there were some times that I was not able to use, there was a big issue with GitHub and a conflict between your login and authentication and using CLI, and then an HTTP-based one using GitHub. And I had to actually run a command in Claude that actually made those changes directly in the runtime environment. Yeah, I had some issues with some sub-agent credentials. So like I did have to go through, and I did use Claude to fix a few things. So this is actually SSH'd into the server. You also could do the same thing here. And I did have some conversations. They're disappeared now. I did have to update the Hermes folder permissions because I was not able to SSH into it until I changed its permissions. So the runtime I could access, but Hermes I couldn't. So I was able to change that. But let me show you in the cloud computer. If I come into advanced and then I go to actually files.
Yep.
I'm going to come to files. So now you'll see memory. This memory folder is exactly the /data/knowledge folder. So if you go here and you upload a file here, that also will upload, that will also be synced to GitHub, and Hermes will then see it as well. So this is the kind of the nice visual interface way to, you know, using a browser to actually go through and upload any file. So you can come into sources, you know, meeting notes. You can come into today's meeting note folder. Right now, there's just the agenda, and you can upload right here. So you can use Slack. You can use the cloud computer. You can use SSH. Well, so far, I and Zain can use SSH, but if you use SSH, then you can use, you know, Terminal or Termius or whatever you use for SSH in.
One thing, how did you, so the syncing with GitHub, the polling, where did you set that up? Or
Hermes set that up. Hermes set that up, but then it created some conflicts with your account.
Got it.
So now I did have to go in, and it gave me a command to run in Claude to fix it. And now there is two separate GitHubs authenticated in there. One is, yours is still authenticated if you're going to go in and control and commit the cloud computer or anything. But then if Hermes is committing, there's only two things Hermes can commit. Hermes can commit the knowledge base and pull down the knowledge base, or Hermes can, as we saw under the terminal, under its runtime environment, Hermes on a daily basis commits and pulls its own runtime environment. So those are the only two places. So this .git right here is using, it's logged in using Hermes login.
Yeah. But basically, Hermes is taking the stuff on this server and syncing it back to GitHub, basically. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Anytime it makes a change, it commits it, and it pulls it every 5 minutes on the knowledge base. On the runtime environment, it only pulls daily and then commits whenever there's a change.
Hey, Tony, quick question on the Hermes runtime.
Yay! Yes.
What about your credentials to your API keys and everything? That's also part of the runtime. Is that getting committed to the Hermes runtime in GitHub as well?
It is in a .env that is not synced because there is a git ignore.
Okay.
So if you did want to, what there is not right now, which I always do in my projects, and I forgot to do it this time, is create like a .env .example that does get synced. That way you can see what are the keys that do need to get specified. But I haven't done that because I figure there's probably no one out there right now that's going to take our modified Hermes agent yet. We haven't even started. We started using it for like a day or two. So yeah, at some point I can create like the .env .example, or if you needed to, you know, if we needed to port this over to another VPS, I have the, actually no, this VPS has the .env. I don't even have the .env. It's on the server. So yeah, so it's only living on the VPS right now.
And that's a private repo, right? The Hermes runtime.
It is no, that repo is a public repo. And so I made sure that it did a full scan of its entire, so the way Hermes works is it has, it does have, you know, memory, but then it also has our knowledge base repo is outside of the Hermes runtime environment. It works differently than what I'm used to using NanoClaw, which is all combined. So we have the runtime is in a different place than this knowledge /data /knowledge. It does though, obviously in its runtime environment, you know, have its own memory, have its own agentic memory. You know, you can see in here it's got sandboxes and scripts and testing and skills and all and state and all that stuff. This though is heavily pruned in the git ignore. So anything that should not be committing anything that's, you know, personal or not even information really about x404, because that's all in like the knowledge base and stuff like that. So it is, I can make it private. I can make it private for now because I don't think anyone, the only reason I left it public is just so that we have at least one public repo that people can see that as a guild that we do have a project that's public that we're working on. So I did it more just so that, you know, for observability of the group.
Yep. No, this is
not
great.
that I think anyone's going to use it.
Yeah. No, I mean, if it's public and you don't have you have git ignoring the end file .files, then I think we should be fine. And really, the more important piece is what, you know, what API keys it's using to kind of do all the stuff, and those API keys are not exposed, whether they're, you know, Zain's private keys or yours, or, you know, even if it's Claude and here and there for some of this other stuff, to kind of keep that, you know, away from public repos.
Yeah, the keys that it does have is like the Olama Cloud key and the Flask API key. So those are two of the keys I know that it has, that relies on.
So I'll just put I'll say we should have Hermes do a security audit, because I know Hermes is going to look at the notes here, but we should just have it do a security review of the server. But also, if anyone's interested, I know there's some really interesting like technical security type stuff that whoever's interested. I think there's some, for example, like how do you separate between the knowledge and agents, and like what should the agents have access to, and all this kind of stuff. For now, I've like relaxed it, you know, Kishore, because we talked about it, and I just said because it was creating too many issues. But I think those are like meaningful problems that are interesting ones if somebody's interested to work on.
Yep. Yeah, you can. I mean, you can just like use that orchestration agent here to ask it, and you know, if you want it to do an audit of itself, this is a good place to do it. Or you can also say, give me a prompt to give to like Claude or Codex or whichever CLI you want to use to interact directly on the VPS, and then that way you can then. So I've had to do that every now and then, where it gives me a prompt. I give it to Claude Code CLI there in the VPS, and then it will go through, and it has more permissions. It has the computer role permission, so it has more permissions.
Yep.
So. So market research. So Karen had created a cron job to do very specified market research that uses Salat, and then it also has access to a wallet with $10 in USD. And so it actually goes, and because there are some things that it needs to pay for, it's like pennies at a time. So you can actually come in here, and so I think every day it does a particular market research report. It delivers similar results with less than half the price per task, 20 cents. Okay, yeah, that was Reno.ai, but it actually goes through and it tells you when it taps in and spends USD, if it needs to spend USD to get access to something. So this is a daily cron job. It's called the x404 Research Radar. It is a sub agent. Yeah, it uses Salat native Twitter. It was using Apify prepaid token, but Karen changed it. Yeah, she has a comment in here. She actually asked it to change, and it did. So anyways, you can come check out that market research report, which drops daily in here. The meetings one. So meetings is no longer, I need to call this something different than meetings, because this is going to drop proposed agenda. You can then give feedback and say, hey, I have some updates to the proposed agenda. You give it updates and it'll post again. It'll say second draft and third draft and fourth draft, and it updates it and syncs the updates into GitHub. This is also where it is going to surface status updates, request feedback on outstanding, open questions and decisions, to surface decisions that need to be made. So this is no longer meetings. This is this is where the bulk of where Hermes and humans are going to be interacting, and on like a program management basis. So I didn't know what to call this. I need to call it something better than meetings. But so this is like meeting status, updates, decisions, alignment. This is the channel for that. So this one should become pretty active. Yeah. And that's basically it. I mean, you can talk to Hermes directly if you want to go in there and search and talk to Hermes, you can, but yeah, it said, tell Zain he is cute. He never actually did that. I asked him that back on July 16th and he didn't know what to do with it. So
wow, he ignored it. He left me on red.
He ignored it. Yeah.
And
I think it's yeah, Jay.
No. I was just asking, the Hermes is using the Olama Cloud thing, and how is it doing the web search? Like, is there an API key for web search as well, or the web search is happening?
I think it's just using whatever tools it has, like regular.
So it's using Olama Cloud's built-in web search, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably using Hermes as built-in whatever. Like
No. Hermes is sending the request through whatever model you have in Olama Cloud.
Yeah.
Olama Cloud web search in the thing, because when I use a local model, I have to wire up web search separately and through my local instances. That's why I was asking. So that explains it.
I think it's using Kimi K 2.7 code right now as the model through Olama Cloud.
Yeah, and I think the web search
which is actually good. I've been impressed so far with Hermes plus Kimi K 2.7. I think it's been good, but I'd be curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's right now, where's somewhere in here, where it is documentation for each agent, sub-agent, and what they do and model. There is one of the documents in the knowledge base that lists each of the agents and sub-agents, and then what they do, and then what models they're using. So I actually did go through. You can see right here, we've got, I don't have a web search on it. It's official Hermes doc. Local skills, before the relevant agent skills are chief of staff, sync agendas as sub-agent, knowledge curator, which actually, in addition to every time there's a new GitHub, there is a sweep to see if there's anything that's out of sync in the knowledge wiki, and then we'll update it on a weekly basis. There's a meeting prep sub agent, and then there's the guild orchestration agent. This is the generic chief of staff one. So the generic chief of staff agent, the orchestrator is Kimi K7 code. It's still using the same one. What model does each agent? I actually had conversations with it about which model makes the most sense, and it did some recommendations. And okay, so the research radar, the meeting digest, the knowledge curator, the meeting prep, all used Qwen 3.5. So it said that Qwen 3.5 would be a better value because it didn't need as much reasoning. So obviously the main orchestrator agent needs more reasoning and to be able to do more complex, longer tasks and turns. So that one's using Kimi K7 code. The other ones are very, very specific tasks that don't require human interaction and as much thought. So those ones are using Qwen 3.5. And then there is a sub-agent that has been built that it can be used to build things. So if we said, Hermes, go build me a dashboard that does this, it will then use a build dispatcher that uses Kimi K7 code because it's better for software development and building tools. And this can spawn coding agents to build things for us. And yeah, there is no default overriding feedback. Yeah. So that's how it's set up right now.
Nice.
Cool.
So if I go back to,
Is there in the interest of time too, is there something to share on the Buzz side too, or I know we're
yeah.
Yeah,
on the Buzz side, I haven't had a chance to do anything this week.
I
just
wanted to make sure we had enough time because I don't know, Tony, did you have other? Are you done with your sharing or?
That's it. Yep, we're done with the Hermes
awesome.
and the knowledge base, and then now we're on to Buzz experiment updates. Now it's a challenge. Now this is
shout out to Tony for
some competition here.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, I was gonna say shout out to Tony for this week of just like making a big push.
Yeah.
I know we've been trying to get to this week.
Progress.
It's awesome. Thank you.
It's fun. It was a learning experience for sure. I probably spent like 10 to 12 hours total. Part of it was just unwinding some messiness on how things currently were in the cloud computer. But yeah, so I think it's applicable. It's also because on my own personal side, I did the opposite approach. I didn't do the Karpathy style. I did you've got connected to Gmail, connected to Slack, connected to Granola, connected to Notion, and knowledge was spread out in a bunch of different places, and then it was all using paid third-party tools, not using Obsidian and MD files. So I had the opposite approach. This is like the LLM Wiki, GitHub, MD file approach. The only thing that I did reuse in terms of concepts was Slack. But outside of that, this is like a very, very different way to do it. But obviously I referenced and told Hermes over and over, use Karpathy style. What would Karpathy do, basically? So.
Yeah, on the Buzz side, me and Kishore we've had a couple of conversations in terms of the infra. One question that is looming is that ideal state would be for us to stand up the Buzz test instance on the VPS so everybody can get to it, because everybody would have SSH keys. Otherwise, if we try to set up a test instance, even between me and Kishore on my infra, it will require Tailscale and all of that stuff. So we still have to sort that out. I don't know what the usage of the current stack looks like on the VPS and what's available. And then maybe I can send you my public key, Zain. You can add it and I can do a scan of things. But I also don't want to make sure that I don't break anything. that
You
Tony
know-
has done, you know. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that like if we have a centralized GPS, it will make things easier. But there are other ways that I'm talking to Kishore about, and maybe we'll have more next week.
Yeah. I feel like we shouldn't be afraid to break stuff, you know, in this group at least. Obviously, we don't want to break the things intentionally, but we
No,
need
no,
to.
no. I have enough places to break things. Don't worry.
Well, I was going to say we could also try to ask Hermes to install it. I did ask it at one point, but at that point the permissions were really locked down, so it was like, oh, I can't do it. But maybe now I can. So.
Yeah, I think. I mean, so I've seen the full conversational thread that Tony was having with the agent and the one that you had to install Buzz. I think installing Buzz with any agent is not the issue. I think there is an operational set of constraints, and one of the main thing is that when you install Buzz, if you don't have a published public domain, it has a way it binds to like local IP addresses and whatnot, and you cannot really change it after the fact because it's using these, you know, blockchain signatures to kind of identify the relay as well as the clients. So whatever that target ends up being, it, you know, it also has got dependencies on tail scale, etc., and that makes it a little bit complicated, especially hosting your relay. And in terms of like running the Buzz agent and installing the Buzz agent, I have like 3 instances running locally, which none of them I've installed by hand. I've told, you know, Qwen to do it. So Qwen and Gemini. So I don't think that's the issue. The issue is that if you want to use it between, you know, the 6 of us, as well as each 6 of us eventually will have 1 or 2 agents of our own. I think compute infrastructure and inference infrastructure is critical to get that thing going, because it has a different interaction model, and it's not going to be very token efficient, you know, versus one Hermes agent basically connected to Olama Cloud. So there are few problems to solve before you get to the experience and the surface area itself.
Okay, sure. Yeah, whatever is best for you.
Kishore, you want to add
Cool.
anything else?
I think that's you gave a pretty good take on it, right? Depends on like individual use. I find most of the tools really good for individual tools are actually not as good for team use. So we have to be cautious of how do we plug this in, and then Jay, you and I discussed, right? There's a bit of a hump that we have to cross, right, to prove that this really works across a few people, and it also works consistently. So I already see what Tony has set up with the Hermes agent. We know that hopefully we have that VPS sandbox with the backing inference infrastructure and everything else all set, so that we can at least have something consistent going while we try this out.
Yeah, one other additional point, kind of closing in on Buzz, is that Buzz has inspired even within the last week or so. I don't know if you have seen what's happening. So GrokBot is basically a Buzz contained, you know, Buzz style interaction pattern at $200 a month subscription. There is one that Y Combinator bozos have, you know, generated, and it seems it's pretty good. They've been using it internally, but it is very opinionated. And then the third one that I don't think a whole lot of people know about is basically Claude is coming out with a new product, which is basically Buzz with Git and everything else packaged in, kind of next version of Claude Tag, but it is basically fully embedded Buzz within the Claude ecosystem with everything wired up for enterprises as well as locally. So there are like few of these things coming out using the Buzz pattern with different, you know, kind of slices, like but Buzz is still kind of like the most open and most cutting edge, bleeding edge right now. So I would not be surprised within the next, you know, 3-4 weeks there'd be 2-3 more alternatives that exist, either fully paid, hosted, blah blah blah, like kind of Buzz like experience, because it seems that the way they have gone about solving the whole human plus agents plus workspace plus context in Slack like experience with Git packaged in is where everybody is trying to experiment.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be
One
This is where
piece that
open clause kind of turned into is
I feel like one thing we
evolution.
haven't discussed yet is how do we how do we basically discuss, how decide our architecture in a way that we are not necessarily eventually going towards all commercial use technologies only, like Claude or like Inference or any other part of the infrastructure, right? Like even VPS, for example, right? So I think if they're going after some credits that are available through sandboxes and inference, that's fine. But I think one of the main things around x404 is how do we build and host things ourselves? Again, as long as we can, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that shared compute infrastructure is kind of where Kishore, you and I have talked about it. I know, you're running some workloads on your DGX, which are your workloads for your stuff. So I think there are a few things that we need to sort there. But I like that. I like this approach that Tony has taken, right? If you get into a bind where you need to solve something and you leverage Claude to kind of fix and get the infra going, I don't think that's wrong. I mean, I do it all the time. I'm like, when, but I do think that, I don't know if you guys have seen this really crazy experiment that's going on. I don't know what comes out of it, but Qwen 3.8 27B is wild. It is basically, this is going to be the time that we will remember where something as close to Opus 4.6 Frontier is running on local, albeit a little bit slow. But there is this, leaderboard that somebody established called MLX Fast, where everybody is using their own Claude and OpenAI codec subscription to optimize how Qwen 3.7 27B can run faster on Apple Silicon. And within the last 3, 4, 5 days, the leaderboard has got like 75 submissions, and the performance has increased from 1% to 219%. So it's basically leveraging Frontier to kind of help the local AI to be smarter. And I think that's kind of like where we'll all end up being. But again, I think it seems that the approach Tony took with, kind of using Claude for some things just to kind of get things going is probably not a bad
Yeah, I
thing.
just used it a couple of times using my personal
okay.
system, but yeah.
But eventually
Anyway,
to make it cost effective, I think we'll have to solve the infra.
Kishore said he was going under a tunnel, so he's going to jump off. So the next thing, just to tell you guys, which was on the agenda, and we can maybe start it a little bit synchronously, and then go async on this, which is finally a lot. And we did exercises, on this as well, but trying to get alignment around our proposed mission statements, proposed objectives, and commitments. And so definitely want feedback. You guys can go into Slack and give feedback on this. So basically, X404 Humans Found is a guild of AI builders who support each other's personal projects and build experiments together. So it's not building a business together. It's not building a community together. It is we support each other's personal projects and we build experiments. Those experiments can be buzz and infra things. They can be a lot. They could be, actually we're not building that together. That's a personal project. It's this Hermes. It's anything that we're building together to help us get the most out of our time together.
Yeah.
And then we don't really have time to go through feedback. Let's do async feedback now that we actually have an orchestration agent. Dedicated time. So number one is dedicated time to share personal project and get hands-on feedback. That is the unique thing. That's what you don't get in a community is hands-on feedback. You just get passive feedback. Experiment with building things together that supports our first objective, which like the Hermes agent, and then buzz, and then learning applied skills by doing objectives 1 and 2. I actually learned quite a bit by going through and getting this Hermes orchestration agent going using Karpathy LLM style wiki. So we're also learning, but we're learning by doing and giving, hands-on feedback. So those are the proposed objectives of X404 Humans, and then proposed commitments. Pretty simple, show up and share or use and give hands-on feedback on each other's projects. Communicate if unable to attend, which you guys have been doing in the WhatsApp if you guys are going to be running late or unable to attend. And then here is the, I think the only controversial thing, which is take on a role or responsibility that maximizes our shared time. Put skin in the game. You get out of it what you put into it. So I'm not going to dive into the whole roles and responsibilities thing now. We can do that async and chat about it later. We have naturally been taking on roles and responsibilities. I've been saying like, hey, Jay and you and Kinshore should own the infra and go focus on the infra. Or, Zain just kind of took on and volunteered himself to tackle the first version of the Hermes agent in the VPS with the cloud computer. And then I volunteered to like kind of help out with that and then get it to the next level. And then I had like, proposed operating principles. This is the big question, which is the roles and responsibilities. So this is something you guys can go in and read at your leisure. I'll repost this link so you guys can check it out. So that's it in terms of like proposed alignment exercises for the group. And it'll just be good just to have something that we all finally agree to, and then we want to change it, we can change it. But
Yeah.
at least we have something memorialized and checked in and part of the knowledge base, and that the orchestration agent can reference. And until this has been signed off on, the orchestration agent is going to bug us. So
Nice. Yeah. I was going to say maybe just think about what is the minimum of commitment you can make, right? Because we can always put objectives and say, yeah, we want to do this. But like at the end of the day, it's like, what is the minimum amount that you actually are willing to commit? And then that kind of determines what the objective could be too, right? Like if you only have 1 hour a week, then maybe it is more of a learning group, or it's lighter on those objectives. But if you have more, then we can do more. So that's one thing.
Yep. Cool. That was basically the last thing of the agenda, other than Zain, you and I to chat about those two kind of async issues.
Yeah. Cool.
But any other thought? Rodolfo, this is the most quiet you've been.
Hey guys, sorry. Yeah,
Are you driving?
I'm out and about, so I apologize. I will. It looks awesome on the phone. Tony, I'll have to take I'll watch the recording and get hands on on what you shared.
Okay, I think I'm actually gonna post on LinkedIn this recording and just say, hey, if you guys have ever tried to install Hermes and use it as an orchestrator to help, program/project manage, be a chief of staff for a team or a family or a community or, a workplace, using Karpathy LLM style wiki, this is a good, go watch the first, 30 minutes of this video where it's diving in on a real live implementation of this working. So maybe, I'm going to post something on LinkedIn, and if you guys can just kind of like that post.
For sure.
Nice.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right, guys. See you next week. In the meantime, just check out our Slack, and you'll be getting pinged, I'm sure, by our orchestration agent.
Nice work, Tony.
All right. See ya.
Good work.
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.